to a space of stillness. Feel yourself as though you are a comet in space, a shining comet in space, touched by the sun. It's beautiful. You have this tail that's so big, of gas. And as you are this comet, you know all the secrets the universe has to offer, because you have flown so many miles already. At a certain point you see that you are drawn towards a planet. There's a lot of movement. You keep getting pulled in tighter. You know you're going to crash on that planet, and it's not going to be good for you nor the planet. So you try to get out of that attraction. Try to get away from it. You try to run away from that attraction. It's not working though. It's not working. Everything you do keeps pulling you in even tighter. And the harder you try to get away, the faster you start going. And as you are about a couple of hundreds of thousand kilometers from that planet, and it starts to become bigger in front of you, you suddenly realize that you can communicate with that planet. And you do. You find out that the planet is actually in need of you. It has been unstable for such a long time. Tidal waves and eruptions, because its electromagnetic field was out of alignment. And so as you communicate with the planet and you start getting closer and closer, all of a sudden you realize that you can slow yourself down. And so you do. So you become slower and slower and even slower. At a certain point it is like you're not moving at all anymore. You like this just being adrift in space. And then you get into the gravitational field of the planet completely. And instead of crashing into it as you thought, as you had feared, you go into orbit. You start moving around and around and around. And as you move around and you find this tranquility in that simple movement, just going round and round and round, as you find there the tranquility, you know you have been waiting for this all your existence, when you were drifting through space. Now all of a sudden you know that this was your place, this was your intent, to be here, around this planet. As you find stability, so does the planet. You see the changes happening. You see the tidal waves coming to an end, and you see clouds lifting. Temperatures get better. You start to fall in love, not with the planet, but with yourself, because now you know that you have a highest passion. You love yourself. Your passion is to bring stability here, and harmony and balance. And instead of soaring through space so very quickly, so fast, going without even thinking, moving without thinking. You now know that this movement, this graceful orbit that you have found, is what you have been waiting for all along. You have found your passion, and in doing so, you bring harmony and balance. That's the energy that I want to introduce you to, invite you to, as we are now going to enter the Zechariah. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Greetings, everybody. We are those that you would call Shasaya, Toraya, and Kamalaya. Come in here today to bring you a message of hope, to bring you a message of understanding, one of great wisdom, wisdom that doesn't belong to us alone, wisdom that was founded upon the ground that is your heart. It is our honor to be here tonight. Tonight, let's call it a night. It is our pleasure to bring you the love that burns within us. The hopeful dreams that we bring are those that we bring back to you. Not those that we create for you, but that we return. It is the three of us that in the past several thousands of years, have been holding on to certain keys, certain insights that humanity, before you were calling yourselves humanity, had learned. And you wanted to protect these insights, these things from, among others, yourselves. As you knew your society after the Lemuria would be going down. It was us that you trusted this knowledge to, we who are an aspect, a part of that which you would call Lemuria. We are the ones who brought the energies that will speak to you at a later point today, here. So as we are here, we might as well communicate with you. My beloved colleagues and friends, it is I, Toraya, who shall come to the front to bring you this message. It's been a long time since I spoke to any such human face as the ones that I am seeing before myself right now. I have spoken in so many different ways. However, all that time, there were but a very low few that could actually hear me as they stepped through my gates back in Glastonbury, where my supposed lair would then be, would it not? As you call the dragon's establishment a lair these days. I find that it is time to speak again directly to humanity, not just because the energetic blood, which you now know is Achinaic energy, has been flowing through my energy veins since a while, since a certain fellowship and some others did some work around the area you know as Shasta. That is when my veins started being filled with the hope of Achinaic energy yet again. It is not the only reason why I speak. I also speak in preparation and in name of the other two I have previously mentioned, in preparation for what is to come very soon. Preparation for another interaction between all of you as a race and that being that you know as Lemuria. The reason why I wanted to prepare you for this message is exactly as Lemuria herself has put forward, that starting from that point, that next communication that you will have with her, him, that you will see that the things that you have learned so far are going to have to be put into a type of practice that you have previously not undertaken. A practice such as the one the Jeshua was telling you about right before you went into your illusionary break. A practice that is constant. A practice that is immediate and all-devouring. Passion, when it burns that fiercely, when it burns that high, like the passion that you can find within yourselves, is in fact a flame of purification. Purification in such a matter that it burns away all things that are no longer necessary within the limited boundaries you see of your existence. Now, as you find this passion within yourselves, and as I and the others shall communicate about this to you today, you need to know that when Lemuria is going to come back in, something is going to change in that which you have called the barrier of all that is. So far, it was a known fact and axiom that the photonic tachyonic barrier that you know as the rim of all that is, was a one-way ticket. Always wanted to say those words. It was a one-way ticket because the only thing that the tachyonic photonic barrier could do was allow the arcaneic energy that you know as babaka, that you know as totality or as divinity, to flow into this reality, to flow into this universe. And as Lemoyne has now decided to speak again, as you know, by the end of your universal manifest, things are going to change a little, with a huge, huge impact. What is going to happen, you see, is that this photonic tachyonic barrier is also becoming a two-way street. It means that from the beginning of January, somewhere around there, 2008, divinity will no longer just be flowing into that which you call reality, but reality will also begin to start flowing into that which you call divinity. We have also said a long time ago, as we gave you the declaration of new energy, that this type of energy that was coming in would be so extremely different, and that it would change the way you perceive things forever, and that you had better prepare yourselves for that change. Now, we didn't plan to speak until the end of this manifest. The reason why we are doing so is that we have found in our examination, as we were taking the energy of Ekara and some of the others into this reality today, that you haven't prepared yourselves enough yet. Now, what you are creating here in this gathering of yours is a type of bubble. It is a type of bubble universe, and it is completely isolated from that which you would call the outside world. What is happening here, and what has been happening since Den Helder, is the creation of a set of new potentials that include the potential of neutrality. You see? Now, so far, that bubble has remained closed. It is about to burst open as the last person is about to leave these halls tomorrow night. Then the bubble of the experiment of your gathering, the last 13 days in total it will show you the effect that a small group of human beings, hello there, can have on planet Earth. You see? Well, you will see, if you don't see right now. It will have a major, major effect. But, the thing is, you see, you still carry around such a load of crap, and that needs to go. It needs to go, actually, in the coming 24 hours almost, because then the time will draw near when your bubble will burst open, literally. It is the reason why some of you have felt isolated here in the last few days, have felt that you were not really a part of anything, because really you haven't been. The world has been moving without your energies present within it, completely. At some point, as the mind was entering into yourselves so fiercely, sometimes in the last few days as well, in the last 13 days and tomorrow will be, there have been times when it seemed as though the bubble would burst too soon, and the 13 days that you have been building up would have been for naught. But as it turns out, all the cracks have been closed on time, so that means that this bubble is still there. Now, as it is going tomorrow, be very conscious of what you want to see go into the world. You have a unique opportunity here, and the opportunity is to strengthen that hologram that you would call the third earth, has been called so by the light worker, to strengthen that hologram by giving it a completely new input of free energy. It would be the first time that that free energy were to be put onto the new hologram that is being created for planet Earth. Up until so far, the only thing that has been put on it is the new energy, but the free energy is something completely different. Free energy, however, as that is archaneic energy, cannot be put upon anything or cannot be self-sufficient, survive in other words, if it is still experienced in a sense of duality. If free energy comes into a dual world, the dual world will always win, you see? Because free energy isn't dual, and anything that would be dual would be pushing away the free energy instead of attracting it. It's a law of magnetics, nothing more than that. So, you need to make a choice again. I know you have been making many choices in the last few days, and the choice this time, or the answer to the question this time, is how pure can you be? How pure can your heart be? How blank can you make yourselves by the time of the initial burst, when this energy is freed upon the world? It is a very important question, and the reason why we wanted to say it to you so directly, before we allow, obviously, the energy of Ekara to come in, is that you should know that at this point of the journey, you are no longer playing games. You are no longer playing the game of spirituality, and you can no longer afford yourselves to just listen to a bunch of information and read about it and do seminars about it and play with it. You can play with it, but you need to be very, very sure of what you are playing with. You are playing literally with the creative power of fire, are you not? And you are working with all of these elements, and you are working with magnetics. That is not sitting around in a circle and singing in Zion. That is heavy duty work, and it is having more of an impact than you actually think, you see. It has a lot of impact. So, what you need to understand then is that every moment of your existence, as you have chosen to walk the path that you are walking, choices that you make are affecting the universe around you, because it is affecting you, and the universe is within you, you see. A little time ago, however, this could not have been possible yet, because you were still too much within the dream of mind to have any type of effect. Now you are not anymore. I'm not saying that you have escaped the mind completely. Obviously you haven't. But you are away from it from enough distance so that you can actually get a radio signal out into the realm of consciousness, to speak with a metaphor. You are no longer in a type of blocking zone where none of your thoughts could really matter, only the negative ones, because all of your thoughts used to be very monitored indeed, monitored by those who would see how to manipulate and control your thoughts. I also want you to know, and this is going to be the case for all in Zaya, but in your case, as you were here doing these things, experiencing this free energy, it is going to be a little bit sooner for all of you sitting here, that by the end of this year, as the complete free energy comes in, that goes especially for you in a couple of hours actually, nobody that has any type of intellect going on, or intelligence or mind, is going to be able to pick up your thoughts. That's going to be over. You are going to be far enough removed from the mind-based world that you are not going to be picked up again. We are also going to make sure that is the case so that you can focus your thoughts on what is really needed. It will also mean that you will be left alone more than you are used to. You used to be, let's call it, attacked by the mental world, by the 3D world on many an occasion. In some cases the attack would come with financial issues, in other cases the attack would come with disease, in other cases the attack would come with family, etc., etc., etc. But that is going to be gone now. It's going to be completely gone. So you might even feel a little bit alone. It's interesting to bring up this concept when Ekara is preparing to fully come in to discuss with you the nature of separation. But there is a type of separation happening with you. You are separating from the mental world and the world of thought control. You're going to find then that you are going to experience different types of likes and dislikes that you used to have in the past. And that, my beloved Messiah, is when you are going to find out how far the mind control actually went. I am telling you now that less than 10% of the actual likes and dislikes that you have had in your life so far are authentic. All of them have been steered. 90% or more even have been steered by others who sought to control you, who sought to manipulate you, who sought to attract you to the products of society so that you yourself would become a product. Because that is what humanity is for some people, a product to work with. You are nothing more to some people that would control you than an item, an empty battery that can be used, or a product that you find in a supermarket. And in order to still that eternal hunger that you have because you are so far removed from source, you are given other products to like, microscopic, macroscopic. You see? You have been done unto you that which is actually happening to you. In other words. Anyway, it is very important so that you realize that the things that you are going to witness within yourselves are not a disease. They are nothing else but another way of liberating yourself. Hello everybody, I wanted to come in myself. My name is Shasaya. Due to the opening of my portal energy a while ago, I witnessed something wonderful. I witnessed within humanity that some were opening their eyes up again and looking into the sky. They were looking at nature again in a way that was before unprecedented. It's beautiful to see the human soul when it re-emerges from its cocoon it has been in for such a long time. It is an honor that it is my veins that should be the first blood to be spilled upon you. Akaneic blood, or as you call it, energy. That would actually allow you to be activated once again. It is actually a very common thing that energies like us and beings like you are in a type of constant communication. It's pretty normal that, only it has taken so long to finally be able to get up again and to speak to you again. You kept the door closed for so long because you didn't know a door was there, you see. Now you do. And we are catching up with humanity. We are starting to see the path that you have followed for all those years. So to us now, it is becoming a possibility to better assist you yet again. We have always been the photonic, tachyonic portals. We have always been those that would assist you when potentials were going wrong, to create another space for you and then to take you through that space. You see, that's one of the benefits of infinity. Infinity within a supposedly finite realm. So, heed the words of my brother, sister, Toraya, when she speaks about the mind control concepts. An important aspect of my energy, which would be Mount Shasta, has been located within American territory after all, for so many years. So I know very well how the mind control game works. You are going to find yourselves very naked without those thoughts that are being fired upon you at any given moment. And you are going to reawaken within the essence of your own being, which is going to be a shock for you when you find that you are truly that source, that it is really possible to feel that entire universe like it has been described by Jeshua and Ekara and so many others. It is actually possible to have all of these feelings for real. But it has been taken away from you. So as the mind control game ends, for all of you sitting here and for those watching this or reading this or listening to this, be aware. Be aware of the void that you might feel. It is not a void, it is a fullness. It is a fullness because you no longer need anything. You won't. That is the place that you are going to, and you know this. But be aware of these two things my brother, sister and I have said now. That A, the Akineic energy that is God is not just going to be flowing into your all that is, it is also going to be flowing out of it. And so the dimensions of totality and infinity are going to come into yours more and more and more. It's going to become a natural process. And at the same time, be aware of the mind control game ending and that effect that it will have on the bubble that you have created here in the free energy experiment that we would call this. It's not because the flow of energy to be at your complete fingertips has been closed off last time you were all here, that the experiment of free energy itself obviously has been finished. That couldn't be further from the truth. So as the bubble goes, make sure your heart is pure, like that of the dragon. Our heart knows only the passion for what we are doing and for what all of you are doing. We have no other passion. We don't want to run home at night to do those things that you call social life. We don't need to run home at night to warm up our pizzas or to turn on our television sets or to surf our internets. We only have that one passion that is so all-fulfilling. And as Jeshua has been telling you about training for mastery. Find ways to train yourselves as much as you humanly can, because that is the only way you are going to get out of it completely, you see. Oh humanity, oh Master, we love thee. We spread our wings to thee, and may the breath of our fire warm your hearts. We have not a flame that would disrupt you. We have but a flame that would enlighten you, that would empower you, and that would strengthen you. I, Shasaya, have spoken here today, together with my brother, sister Toraya. Kamalaya will enter into direct communication as the ones that will be speaking to you in Camelot will be brought in, obviously. I will now allow the energy of Ekara to move into this body. And I thank you for all that you are doing. Blessings. And so it be. And so it is. Greetings, everybody. I am Ekara, cosmic being and sovereign servant of free energy. It was quite a shock when I noticed that some of those brethren that you would call dragons wanted to come into this body to say these things to you. Actually, I was preparing to say these things to you, but I should learn not to go through my notes as I am riding the dragon. Those nasty little critters. That's just a joke. I'm sorry, keeper of Lamoya. So, I hear that things are going pretty weird with all of you. It's going pretty good, and at the same time, there's so many things going on. There's a lot of isolation going on, at the same time an embrace of more things than you ever embraced before. Well, that is a natural thing. It is a natural state, especially after those things that you now heard about through the energies of Shasaya and Toraya. It's a very special experiment that we are undertaking here, a fascinating thing to bring into human consciousness the resurfacing of certain concepts, and to do that within a limited group, to then graft what has occurred to all of humanity. It is a totally new concept. But as humanity is connecting on more and more levels anyway, it is a possibility, is it not, to do it this way? As always, you may never think that anybody is ever going to be manipulated. As free will still remains on the planet, it is possible for every human being who will feel that energy that you are going to be sending out by the end of tomorrow as negative, and to say no to it. Everybody will have that chance. The question is, how far are all of you in saying yes? I guess that by now you are beginning to see the intensity with which this type of work is going to be accompanied with. There's a lot of work ahead, but there's also a lot of liberation ahead. Definitely. And I know that everybody here is feeling that. Everybody here is responding to that in a different light than you used to do before. All those days that I and so many others have spoken, you have been going through the illusion of form. Sometimes it's been an easy ride, and sometimes it's been a hell of a ride. Moments of great pleasure, and moments of great pain, and fear, and separation. For that is what it is always coming down to, it, isn't it? The concept of separation. Always brings you to that point when you feel separated from your desire, from that which you desire. That's why it's called a desire, because you are feeling separated from it and you want to become one with it again. The only thing that, of course, you're not realizing is that you are always one with it. So, I'm here to give you another insight, second part to the Mastering Your Grand Illusion series, as it is being called by Jeshua and that one over there. Mastering the Grand Illusions. Part 2.1. Separation. Are you taking notes?
Yes, they are.
This is going to be on the test, so be very careful. Yeah. In one sentence, I can tell you this about separation, and that should summarize everything. Never be afraid of separation, because it isn't real. There you go. That was the class on separation. Let's go to the other illusion. No, it's not going to be that easy, huh? Never fear separation, because it isn't real. Let's go into that sentence. Never fear separation, because it isn't real. Fear. What is fear all about? Fear is an energy that comes upon you when you feel either one of your illusions is coming upon you with such a certainty that it is going to destroy you, probably. That is fear. Fear of death only really occurs when you are, most of the time, most people, confronted with death. Otherwise, you pretend that illusion isn't there. You pretend that death is going to happen to everybody else. It's not going to happen to you. Well, if you are in a state of mind, it is going to happen to you. And you should be very, very afraid of it before it happens. Not when it happens. When it happens, you're too late. So why isn't the mind afraid of death before it actually occurs? Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that interesting? That the mind creates the illusion of death, and that you need to fear that death. Nobody celebrates it almost. So that you need to fear that death, and still, when it isn't there, when you aren't being confronted with it, your mind is trained not to think about it and not to fear it for real, because you don't think it's ever going to happen to you. It's one of those traps, you see. It's one of those traps created by the mind and created by society that is teaching you or lying to you that you are going to live forever. That is what society is telling you all the time, except those trying to sell life insurance. Those are different. They're trying to let you know that you're going to die. So there's always a balance between a certain amount of energy and another amount of energy. But in the general case, most of your days are lived without the concept of death present, especially the death of self. Most of the time, the concept of death is there when others are concerned, children for instance. How many parents aren't afraid that their child might die, that something might happen to it at any given moment, and so they try to protect the child? Even better, oftentimes not allowing the child to be itself anymore. So, fear is only there, actually, when it is good to the mind. When it is a good thing for the mind, that fear is there. Haven't you ever noticed that? The mind doesn't want you to go into consciousness, doesn't want that to happen to you. So basically, it only generates fear when its own survival is at hand. You really need to get that one pinned down into you, because that's going to be the basis for a lot of work when it comes to illusion. Fear now, and what you call desire are exactly the same. They're the same energy, doing the exact same things, fear and desire. How could that be? Doesn't seem like the same energy, does it? Fear is something completely negative, and desire is so positive. Ooh, I long for it. Just another day, and then that one thing that I've been longing for, and oops, it's gone. Gone again. New desire needs to build up. Same thing with fear. Fear can come into your body and it can be so strong, and all of a sudden it can be gone. It is the same energy, fear and desire, only showing up in different frequencies and different vibrations because it suits that unique color, suits the mind. This brings us to a point. It brings us to the point that most energy that is around you is not akeneic energy. It is mind energy. Mind energy. And I'm going to draw it again. Here we go. Remember, one type of energy and hello. Let's call it the other type of energy. One type of energy is linear or mental, and this type of energy you would then call akeneic or conscious, which is basically the I am. Yes? Now, if you look at these, what is it telling you about the things I just said? Anyone? Obviously, as you remember, akeneic energy is going to both directions at the same time, starting or ending at the beginning of time, and ending at the end of time. Well, obviously this is not 100% true for akeneic energy, because it just flows through the end of time, you see, but it appears to end at the end of time, because at the end of time there is nothing to continue with. But in the things, sorry?
That's only in the now, living in the now, that's linear.
Yes.
Living with a present past and a future.
Yes.
If you are in the now,
Yes.
there's no room
For fear
for fear.
or desire. Yes. But why is it so? And this is extremely true what you are saying. But why is it so that so much energy around you is mind-based energy? Because, my ladies and gentlemen, the energy that is around you is linear energy. It is mental energy. It has a spinning direction. Ask any scientist. They will tell you. Oh, I'm going to need another headset. There we go. Aloha. Ask any scientist, and they will tell you that energy spins in a certain direction. It is because the electrons are spinning in a certain direction. You see? And that is creating the world around you. The walls that you see, the chairs that you are sitting in, your clothing, even your body. Up until this point, except for the 144 achinaic cells, is being generated by linear or mental energy. And that is not necessarily energy that goes from the beginning of space to the end of space. It is also at the same time energy that has one direction. And that is the only thing that is really important. The fact that it has only one direction. That is why it is mental. That is why it can be used by the mind to generate thoughts within you. Achinaic or conscious energy is flowing in two directions all the time. If things are flowing in two directions all the time, the matter that you are experiencing, like the one you are experiencing right now, can't be real in the same way it is real now. The matter around you, and especially your body, seems to end at a certain point. You have been taught this. Achinaic energy, because it is always flowing through now space, never has an actual beginning and an actual end. Now, if you look at fear again, and if you look at desire again, which are the same emotions, that's called fear and emotion because it is an emotion, and desire as well. If you look at those energies, then you see they are always pointing you towards something or moving you away from something. Fear is an energy that's saying, get away before it's too late. Desire is, get closer before it's too late. Same thing. Achinaic energy knows no creation of fear or desire because the energy is all present, constantly, all the time, flowing in any direction. And of course, I am now just creating a two-dimensional image of achinaic energy. I guess that you realize that if you look at it from an infinity point of view, that you would know that the achinaic energy is moving in any direction, both ways. Not just left and right. This is just a two-dimensional sketch. So, allowing that type of energy to be around you all the time is the reason why it is impossible for a God or a divine human to ever fear or to ever have a desire. If the now space doesn't agree with the conscious creator, the achinaic energy changes the now space in such a way that it does support the being that is experiencing it at that point. There is no other way. Akineic energy only can, and that is the only thing it can do, create that which you are in at that very moment. As a conscious creator, you can never get out of certain, let's call them powers. You are constantly creating the universe, constantly. You are constantly aware of the fact that you are creating the universe. You are constantly aware of all the things that you are creating around you in the universe.
So you are awake.
You are fully awake. Yes. Yes, that is the exact description of it. So there is no possibility of fear or desire because, as you said, you are awake. Fear, based on death, is when you believe that your energy flow at a certain moment is going to stop. Why is the mind then trained to not believe your energy is going to stop? Because if you really go into your mind-based thinking, even then it is hard for you to believe that your life is ever going to come to an end. Because if you were to have that thought that your life might be coming to an end, you would be of no value to society. They all want you to believe that you are eternal within a mind. Because then you will have no fear of gathering things around you. You see? If you are an eternal being, then there can be no lack on a physical level. That is what they want you to believe. There is always lack on a physical level if you are in a 3D state. However, there is another way. Let's go back. Let's go back. Never fear separation because it isn't real. And I will get to the point I'm trying to make. You will see. Separation because it isn't real. What do we find in there? The fact that separation doesn't exist. Then why are we all experiencing it when we are in a 3D state? Why are we fearing things? And why shouldn't we fear the concept of separation? Does anybody know?
The mind tells us it's me and you.
Yes? Why does the mind do that? Why does the mind say there is a you and a me?
To create the separation.
But why would it want to create separation in the first place?
The competition. For the worry,
For the fighting.
for fighting.
Yes.
For
Yes.
winning and losing.
Yes.
Polarity.
Polarity, duality.
Duality.
Yes, correct. Correct. Now, in a dual world, how can you ever let go of any separation? It is impossible. In a dual world, it is not possible to fully grasp the fact that you are not separated. You see? It is always going to be a certain belief system present within you that is telling you that deep down all of this isn't real, and that deep down you are very much alone, and that when you die it's going to be over and done with. Why do people fear death then? Why do people fear death?
Don't remember. You don't remember.
Where they come from?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I never go to.
Because
They don't know what's to
I
come.
think because they are afraid to have letting go everything.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. So why does separation continue to exist, and why don't these illusions cancel themselves out? Because people are afraid of letting go of everything. And that is the exact thing that we have been telling you to do. It begins with letting go of separation. First, you need to understand the form and the illusion that the form is, but then, as you let go of separation, it becomes easier to let go of objects and subjects and people and situations and addictions, etc., that are all around you. Why does it become easier? Because now you can truly experience that all of those things are never really going to be away from you, because you are the creator of them. And that energy package is always going to be attached to you, even though in a physical world it might seem as though they are completely gone. And still, now we're getting into it. Now we've said what we needed to say to introduce this topic. And still, people are brought down, not by the illusion of form itself, not by the illusion of exchange itself, not by time and space itself, nor death. They are brought down by the concept of separation. Because that is why the illusion of form kicks in the first place, because there is the illusion of separation. And that is why you desire form, and that is why sometimes you fear form, and that is why you desire exchange and sometimes fear exchange, and the same goes for time and space and death. Because there is the initial illusion of separation, and that illusion is based on fear. Fear that is generated because of a linear mental type of energy, because it is only spinning in one direction. And things can either come to you or they can go away from you. And that, my loves, is the simplicity of the mind-based life. That is all the mind is always dealing with. Is it coming towards me or is it going away from me? That's all the mind ever does. That question. When you enter into mind space, that is what comes on to you. Is this thing coming towards me? And if I desire it, that's a good thing. If I fear it, that's a bad thing. Or is this thing moving away from me? And if I desire that, then that's a bad thing. And if I fear it, then that's a good thing. That is what life is all about. That is all what you are doing all the time with your life. Is it coming towards me? Is it going away? Fear-based thinking and desire-based thinking. That is all that the mind can offer you at any given point in the timeline. And it is all based on separation. The illusion of form wasn't a real negative illusion back in Lemuria, after all. There was a type of form. Although it was a light body most of the time, there was a type of form. There was also a type of exchange. We have spoken about the Lemurian language, and actually, if you think about it, the Akene also requires an exchange to be made. Right? There was also the concept of time, because we have told you about the beauty of time back in Lemuria. The near infinity that you could create out of a moment. There was also the concept of space, because you have heard Kuthumi's feet burning in the sand as the sea washed over them for the first time when he materialized there. It's space. And there was a type of death, because the Lemurian could decide to leave the bodily form again, and to become one with energy and all that is. So, if you think about it, those illusions are just there. And they don't need to be illusions. Do you understand that? It is because of separation, the illusion of separation, that these things are becoming a negative instead of a positive. Because there is separation, it is now possible to not have the form that you desire, and to have the form that you don't desire be too close to you. It is possible to have fear over exchange, and to have the desire to exchange when it is not happening in your life. And I could go into all the other illusions as well. I'm not going to do that right now, it is not necessary. Just to show you that the illusion of separation is the one that is activating all the others. And although, and here is the knack, although you will have to go through the illusion of form as the first illusion, problem is that you have to go through separation. And you're not going to be breaking the separation as you break the illusion of form. The illusion of separation is something that you're going to have to deal with as you work through any of the illusions, but it is also the last one to drop away again, which allows the others to come into full bloom and to make them no more an illusion, but just a building block of the field of experience. You see? So, what people are actually fearing is the concept of separation. And what they are at the same time desiring is the concept of separation. Because everybody wants to be an individual, wants to have a unique personality or identity that is so very stimulated these days in your society. So there is a desire to be separate. At the same time, there is a fear to be separate, because being alone, ending up alone and not finding that mate, not getting that child, not doing all of those things, is a fear of separation. You see where the key is to be found. You see that. It all comes down to that. It's very simple, really. It's ridiculously simple, really. But you have to be consistent. You have to know what you're doing at any given time. And you have to see the easy methods with which the mind is keeping you addict to the other illusions because of separation. An addict would not be addicted if the illusion of separation weren't there in the world, because there would be nothing to be addicted to, because everything would be one with you. So the mind is keeping the illusion of separation alive, and that is all it is doing, my beloved Messiah, ladies and gentlemen. That is all the mind is doing, keeping the illusion of separation alive. And that notion began with the Atlantean, as they separated themselves from unity consciousness. That is how the illusion of separation got introduced into the mix, and actually took something that was just a neutral field of experience based on form and exchange and time and space and an ending, linearity. And it took that and it made a perversion of that. And it is in that perversion that you are now living. You are like the fish that has been living in a badly cleaned bowl for such a long time with muddled water, so that it doesn't even know there is pure water to swim in. You see? And we are just here to clean up the water, so that you would once again see what is your power. and what is your possibility, and what you can actually do. That's it. Bye. Just kidding. But that's it. That's all you really need to know to stay in a constant type of focus. Constantly. All you have to remember is the fact that you are constantly being fed the desire and the fear of separation. Usually at the same time. That's what drives you crazy. That's what keeps you going around in circles. Round and round and round in circles. That's what happens to you. So this may not be a message of spirit technical or scientific value, but it is a message of great importance nonetheless. Next time when I speak, which will be tomorrow, we will look at the scientific angle of separation, and we will see what is actually happening in the DNA that is generating that type of separation, and how you can go against that also on a biological level. How you can use archaic energy to actually work against the illusion of separation, to lift it up completely. But so far, this is what you need to know. And this is what I invite you to work with today, as you go through your day, to work with this concept. It's a very important one. It is all about separation, and that is all the mind is doing to you. If you are having trouble right at this moment to remember the exact reason for all I have been saying, then I suggest you listen to me again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Because it is probably, as the illusions go, one of the most basic and yet important messages I can tell you. Let this then be an introduction to the second part of Mastering the Grand Illusions. We will now take a short break, and after that break, one of my beloved friends will be back to turn this into an open discussion about the same topic from the ascended human's perspective. I belong in you a very, very great deal. You must know that. And as we, you and I, have the tendency to walk the Lemurian paths and to walk through the Lemurian paradise from time to time, and we hold each other's frequencies or hands, and we speak softly about what the world used to be like. I send you now the softness of your voice as it will sound then, just a couple of years in the future, as you have battled with your demons and found that the demons have always been yours. It's always coming back to you, isn't it? And so, my lovely, lovely family, I bring you the love of Source, the divinity of this cosmos, the purity of my heart, and the beauty that is you. And so it is.